Hi, welcome to You, Me and Mediumship. It's been a while, unfortunately, because of other commitments with the teaching side of things on Patreon and other things that are happening. So it's been a bit tight for time, to say the least, but we are back, and I'm going to do a little video again based on things that happen through the teaching, questions that get asked, things that some of the students struggle with. So it's kind of good in a sense, because obviously it gives me some idea of what content I can put on here to help you, and obviously it'll also help those that are learning at the beginning of their journey with mediumship. So fingers crossed it'll be of some use to you, and those of you that know me, it's very basic, down to earth guidance, if you like, with mediumship, with the world of spirit, and very fluffless, as it's been mentioned in the past. I'm not one for fluff, as you can probably tell, because this is a purely natural ability of all energy, of all soul, of all spirit. It is not something we tend to learn in a sense. We can certainly be guided with it. We can be taken to that doorway, and like I said, it's one of my sayings, I will guide you to the door. That door will be locked, and it is up to you basically to find that key. That key is available to all energy, to all source, to all spirit, to all soul. Whatever your label for that is, it is certainly available to all. So sometimes when you feel a little frustrated, you feel that things aren't quite going your way, things aren't happening, then you need to be patient with this. It is something that takes time, it's something that takes dedication. Many subscribers will disappear as I say the words, this is not a gift. It is part of purpose. It is part of your journey. It is not something that has been gifted to you out of the blue. You are at a point upon this journey where you have a particular purpose to fulfill. So none of us walk on water. None of us have extraordinary abilities beyond others. We are simply at that point. And we knew as we entered this realm, this existence, we knew, however deeply that may be, but we knew that we would be working with spirit, and it would become part of our journey, part of our purpose. For some it comes as a surprise, out of the blue, all of a sudden. Maybe circumstances change, maybe something happens that just sparks that ability within yourself, but that is part of that pre-planned purpose, if you like, the 3 Ps. So it's important that we grasp the fact that this is a natural ability. When we enter this realm, we carry with us much of the truths that we have learned through many lifetimes, through many existences, through many experiences. We carry that knowledge with us, that truth, that love and that light is within us all as we enter this space, if you like. It is only the material side of things within this existence that buries that, where the mind kicks in to achieve its goals of material gain and the basic down to earth stuff, I guess, feeding ourselves, survival, protection. The mind is geared up for all that. It is a material thing programmed to do that. And obviously as we take our first few steps within this world, within this existence, upon this plane, we are bombarded with experience and other people's perception. I call them the thou shouts. So we tend to obviously get guided or placed, if you like, upon that hamster wheel, and off we go. The more divide there is between mind, body and spirit, the more that wedge is pushed in between those three elements of self, the more the mind will take over, if you like. And the deeper that truth that you carried with you gets buried. There are, without doubt, many, many souls, many energies upon this plane that knowledge that they brought with them does not get buried. They have an understanding. Hence, many light workers who say, I always felt different, I couldn't fit in, I have difficulty doing this, I have difficulty doing that, is because you are fighting against truth. You are fighting against the knowledge that you carry within. So there's a kind of battle going on there. The mind is pushing you one way, the soul is pulling you another. And that can be a difficult place to be. Things that matter to some people may not matter to you. So it's a very difficult place to be and can cause a lot of problems for many people. But, like I said, there are many energies that hold on to truth, or at least an element of that truth. And it may sit quite dormant for a number of years before it starts to show itself. It starts to emanate from you. It can be many years before that happens. For some, they will never ever, well, they think they never ever experience any of that truth that they brought with them. That love, that light, that power of source. But there will be times where it will raise its head, if you like, and show itself within us. We will sense it, we will feel it. But the people that are strong enough, and they tend to be quite controlled, mind-controlled people who live purely through mind with very little heart, will just simply bury that, rebury it, push it away, and carry on. But that truth lies with all life source. It is part of it. It is an element of it. You can't destroy it. You can't get rid of it. It's an impossibility. In a sense, it's like saying that to alter the seasons around, we'll swap them over. We'll alter the weather to a degree. Okay, there's things like global warming and the effect of things that we are doing excuse me, on the planet. But that's a different thing altogether. But natural, that circle of natural motion, if you like, that happens every second of the day, that circle cannot be broken, it cannot be changed, we cannot alter it. Mother Nature will obviously react to certain things if need be. She will adapt if need be. But her main purpose, the main purpose of that energy within itself, is a constant energy that cannot be altered by man. We can try and destroy it, we can try it and do all sorts of weird and wonderful things with it, but at the end of the day it will come back to where it was in the beginning and rejuvenate. If you imagine if we took man out of the equation upon this planet, many things would return to how they should be, because she will heal and she will carry on that circle. So the circle of life itself within us, that love, that light, that power of source that is within all living things, is identical to Mother Nature. It will carry on in that constant fashion, rejuvenate, if need be, alter maybe some of the perceptions we have, or try and make us see things differently. She will certainly try to do that, and that is kind of like gut feeling, if you like. There are things we know sometimes that we are doing are not correct, they are not right, and we get that gut feeling. It's that kind of that repercussion of doing wrong, if you like. It's that nudge, you know when it's not right. But the mind will carry on 9 times out of 10. So anyway, enough of that. So I want to talk about what happens when we're sitting with spirit and self. For the people that are quite new listening to this, it's sitting in the power, but I call it sitting for spirit and self. And a number of the students are now starting to sense that presence of energy whilst they're sitting. Some say there is a colour element to it, which is fine, it's quite natural, it's quite normal. Some say it's just that sense of a presence. And naturally they ask, well, what do I do with that? So I've mentioned it, I think I've talked about this before, but I just need to kind of repeat myself with this because it is very important. You are dealing with energy, with soul, with spirit. Identical soul, spirit, energy that is within you now. So, in inverted commas, you are talking or communicating with another human being. And I say inverted commas because obviously it is a energy outside of material body, a consciousness that exists outside of body. There is still personality. Okay? Now these personalities, these conscious energies that surround us, this energy that flows around us every day of the week, that is a constant flow of energy, has within it the same life source that flows throughout this realm, into the next, etc., etc. So that life force is a constant flow of energy, not only through us, not only through self, but also through spirit. We have the ability to be able to use our own energy, our own spirit, our own life source, to blend with that exists, that flows through spirit. We can blend with that simply through a vibrational change, if you like. All energy vibrates at different rates. the energy of spirit, that consciousness, is far quicker, if you like, than the energy that vibrates within us whilst on or in this realm. So there is a vibrational difference. So we kind of heighten our vibration, whereas spirit will tend to slow their vibration in order for those elements of energy to be able to merge. Not an easy task at all on both sides, and that's something we tend to forget. We sometimes blame ourselves if that communication isn't quite right, if we're not quite hearing it properly, if we're not quite seeing it clearly. But obviously we don't want to start blaming spirit either, but there's a combination of two energies working very hard under very difficult circumstances to be able to blend. It's not always us. Spirit also struggles sometimes to get it right with us, hence our dedication to sitting for spirit and self. So for us to communicate with our loved ones, with loved ones that are maybe parents or sisters, brothers, uncles, aunts, whatever, related to the people we are reading for, in order for us to be able to communicate with them, to be able to pass on a message, we need to grasp the fact we are literally communicating with another human being. This isn't some odd, strange, weird energy that we're trying to communicate with. So it's important that we have that respect for them, obviously. But it's important that the line of communication is no different to how you would speak with your friend, with your parent, with somebody you meet in the street. There has to be that line of communication. And the first thing that happens while sitting for spirit and self is the minute you either sense a sound, you sense a vision, you sense that present, is your mind will kick in and say, hang on, don't like this, this is odd, this is not normal, this is not real. And it will start to question, what was that? And the second you do that, you start to lower your vibration back into that bodily sense, if you like, of thought, and you weaken the line of communication because you've gone human on it, if you like. And many of you say, "What? No, how do I stop that from happening?" For me, I think the easiest way is when you see something. I mean, very, very early on, just sit for self and spirit. Just sit there, absorb the energy, enjoy it, feel at peace with it. And there is an element of healing that goes with that. And spirit will help heal whilst you're sat in that presence. But that's early on. But when you've been sitting a while and you start to sense that presence, and as that presence draws close, if you hear something, if you see something, when I say hear, I don't mean physical, I mean sense of sound, that vibration of sound. When you hear that whisper of spirit, when you sense that whisper of spirit, you don't need to question what just happened. It's far more beneficial to question spirit, what just happened. Rather than going human on it, try and hold on to it, and it will help with holding on to it by simply on that thought pattern, ask, what was that you said? What does that mean? What was that image? What does that mean? By doing that, you are simply opening up that line of communication rather than letting the thought of what was that rattle around in your mind and try and decipher it and work out what's going on. Build that line of communication. Ask who they are. Who is this presence that I can sense? You are opening up that line of communication. And as I've said many, many times before, there are so many of you who will sit for self and things will happen. And I know I do say early on, just allow those things to flow through. Allow that initially. But once you've got that strong sense of that presence there, start to communicate. You do not meet people in the street and just stand there and say nothing. There would be no conversation if it was all like that. But I mean, I know many people are on their phones nowadays, but if somebody came up to you and said something, in other words, you physically heard them say something to you, and you just stood there, you probably wouldn't have many friends, to be quite honest. You know, it doesn't make sense. So why do you do that with that human, inverted commas, on the other side of life? So we mustn't allow that to happen. We need to open that channel of communication simply by putting that question back in the lap of spirit, if you like. So if you sense something, question it with spirit. Say thank you. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for being here. May I ask who you are? May I ask why you're with me? Do you help me? Do you work with me? So it's important that you start to build that line of communication so that spirit learn more about you, you learn more about them, and when you're working as a medium, if you're doing demonstrations, if you're doing readings, you will use that technique. As the information comes in, sometimes you don't need to question it if it's coming quite fast. You've got a good strong connection there, and you're giving that information to your sitter, to whoever's out there in front of you. You don't always need to question. You won't have time to question because of the speed at which sometimes the information comes through. But if you've got a connection that's not quite as strong as you would like it, it's well worth asking, what does that mean? I sense a mum figure. Are you mum? I sense a father figure. Are you father? Let the reply come in. Sense that answer. That's important too. Sense it. Give a space for sensing. So as you put that question out there, sense that answer coming back and give it. But the more you do that, and the more you learn that, the stronger your line of communication will be, and the clearer your messages will be. So the answer to the question basically is, what do I do when I sense something? Like I said, if you're very new, early on, just enjoy. Just be. Just sit in that silence. Because like I said, there's an element of healing to that. There's also an element of learning on both sides of the veil, not only for yourself, but for spirit to learn more about you. So I hope you enjoyed that. Please like, please subscribe, it helps an awful lot. Pop over to Patreon, the link will be in the description if you're interested in any lessons, or the circle which we hold on Wednesday. Reminds me it's tomorrow. So I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great evening, and I'll speak to you all again very soon. Bye for now.